Warning. This podcast contains real opinions, raw energy, and zero apologies. If that electrifies you, good. Welcome to the BSing with Y-Eagle-Y podcast. Hit that like button and turn it up. Let's rock.
Rob here. Welcome to the show. We've got more killer shows coming your way, so lock in these dates. Generation Z and Cognition Band, June 21st, 1 p.m. 3 The Hard Way, June 26th, 5 p.m. Space Casino, July 18th, 7 p.m. Color Me Crazy, July 26th, 5 p.m. And this is Central Standard Time. First off, welcome Touch of Red to the show. We appreciate y'all taking the time to hang out with us today. How's it going, guys?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Doing good here. Happy to
guys,
be here.
thanks for being on the show.
Of course.
First off, Eric, congrats on graduating.
Oh,
Master's,
geez.
right?
Yes,
So-
just finished.
What was your major?
Business administration. So I have an MBA now.
Hell yeah.
Very happy.
Now that you graduated, what's the path? What path did you decide to go down?
It's a good question. I don't really have one as of right now. I'm happy with where I am currently. And just happy to have the degree. It's expanded my mind and it's opening horizons for the future. So.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
thanks very much.
by
I
the
really
way.
appreciate that. Awesome.
Touch of Red Band, thanks for being with us here today. We appreciate you guys spending your time. And if I could give an extra thanks, you guys have been long-time supporters of Static Shift Radio and that platform. I can't thank you enough for doing that. In fact, you've helped get me introduced to several others of our bands that we've had on the platform. And so really, really appreciate you guys for that. And I normally start out with a different question, but I was thinking about it. For those who are not familiar with your band that may be watching today, introduce yourselves and which instruments you play.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Eric. I play bass and I sing lead vocals on our original stuff.
I'm Josh, and I play drums.
I'm Steve. I play guitar.
Heck yeah.
So before we dive into the music, I always like to start at the beginning of the story. Every band has that moment where everything clicks, the right people, the right chemistry, the right sound. So for everyone watching and just now discovering Touch of Red, how did the band first come together?
So I had met Steve like about a year before or 2 years before I met Eric. And so like it was during COVID and we used to
Yeah.
jam like every Mondays. Like it was like we had Monday night jams, and one day at work we were Eric and I worked on the same floor, and we just started talking about like nonsense video games. I think we stood in that hallway for like 40 minutes. At least it felt like it. And so then like we like hung out, played a video game, and like 2 or 3 days later, I know that we remember this differently, but I remember him exploding into like my area and being like, "You didn't tell me you played drums," and I was like, "I didn't know that was important."
It's always important.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, I play bass and guitar, and I sing, and I do all these things," and I'm like, "This man's very talented." And so I was like, "All right, let's why don't I jam with this great guitarist? Like let me invite you." So I text Steve. He's like, "Oh, absolutely, bring the guy." So I think I picked you up, right? So I came here. He's like, "Hey, I want to jam real quick before we go jam again."
The
So
warm-up
like,
jam.
like where we're sitting
Yeah.
right now, actually.
And
They pre-gamed before
yeah.
they came to my place.
and I think what song did we jam? I know you came up with the bass line pretty much. You had it in your
Yeah,
head.
so it's actually what ultimately is track 3 on our record. I had come up with this little ditty maybe a couple weeks before, and I was always thinking like, okay, well, if the jam doesn't go that well, then I'll at least have this, and we can like work off of this and like fill the time. Sometimes you get into a jam situation, there's not chemistry, but you still want to have a good time, so you bring in. That was not the issue here, though. Anyway.
It was an instant like first of all, the bass riff was awesome, but I was like there was like already like there's something going on, like there I already feel this. We have that rhythm section connection, And I remember being like, we have to go jam again. Like, let's go. We have to
Schedule
stop.
next jam.
Yeah.
Monday's coming up.
Yeah, we have to run. So we go to Steve's, and like same thing. Like as soon as we start playing, like I was like, oh, there's something here. To the point that like I think we did it like once or twice, and I was like, hey, do you want to make this like a thing? And Eric was like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. Well, and it kind of just like went on from there, where I was like, oh, like this is fun to jam, but like we should really like make this like a band
Make
thing.
it official.
Yeah, I think it took like 2 months, if that.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. From the first time we jammed, we were like, we sound great together. Like, this is fun. We get along. We like each other, and we just wanted to keep jamming.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Who came up with the name Touch of Red for your band? How did that come about?
So we were coming up with names. I really like the somethings, right? Like I like the Foo Fighters. I like having a the. And I was at work, and a friend of mine came up with, he was like, what about the conference? And I was like, I like the conference. And all of our friends were like, we like the conference. And we're like, it's temporary. And I was like, and I think Road Ahead, actually, like the YouTube video we put out first, like our first time, like kind of putting something together, it says the conference. And I was getting pizza about a week or two after that. And my friend was like putting some garlic, and he was like, and I'm like, oh, how much you putting on? He's like, just a touch. And I was like, huh. And as we were walking away, I'm like, it'd be a cool band name to be like a touch of like a color or something. I was like, Touch of Red? That seems good. And that friend actually is the one that came up with the conference. And he's like, I think the conference is much better. And
I stuck to it.
yeah, I was like, I don't know. Let me bring it to the band. And so I brought it, and everybody was like, that's really, we like it better. And all the people that liked the conference were like, by the way, we never liked the conference. The Touch of Red is much better.
Just gassing us up.
Yeah, all our friends just didn't care to give us their honest opinion.
And from my perspective, that was like the one thing that we weren't able to agree on early on. Was like everything else was fine. Like the music was flowing. We had songs with like what band name? We would just chat a lot, like just writing to each other in our group chat, like here's a couple ideas. Nothing was sticking. But when Josh brought that to me, he was like, what about Touch of Red? Like it was an immediate. I was like, that's it. There's no question. Like that's easily the band name as far as
We
I'm
were
concerned.
sold.
No
I was
arguments.
sold, yeah.
I personally like it. I like it.
You
Thank
guys
you.
like the conference better? Or Touch of
we can
Red?
go back.
No.
We'll just
What's the
change
verdict?
all our merch. Yeah.
No, I like Touch of Red better than the conference. And the logo, who designed that? Because I think it's cool that behind the lettering for your band name, it looks like the outlines of a red fingerprint. And that's kind of genius. I like that. Talk about that.
Yeah, totally. So none of us are visually talented, right?
That's correct.
No,
I'm
yeah, that's
bashing you guys.
accurate.
I know for me, like I have very rudimentary drawing skills. I don't think of things in terms of like I can think of what I might want to see visually, but audio is where it's at for me. Like that's how I think creatively. So my wife is actually a professional artist, so
Okay.
that's super helpful, So we brought it to her, like, what do you think? And she did the fingerprint portion. She actually drew that out, I think with a stylus on a tablet, like she kind of drew that out.
Nice.
Made it red, and then this is actually funny too. She put the whole logo together actually, but we couldn't agree on a font. Or not that we couldn't agree, but we had a bunch of different ideas for a font. And what's funny is she being I think she would consider, a question just came in, I saw, nice, does she design for other bands? I think she would be interested in designing for other bands. She's not so much of a graphic designer. I can get into more of that later, but everything she does is typically like actual physical media. And she actually did the physical media that is our album cover, In Our Nature. That's a
okay.
framed piece of physical media that's in our living room. Anyway, we had a bunch of different text ideas for Touch of Red, and everybody likes the one that you're seeing. Like you can see it on the kick drum in the back if you're watching this. If you're not, you can find it on our social media. Everybody that we saw liked this design with this text, but Jackie and I, that's my wife's name, is Jackie. She and I did not. We all liked different ones better. We were like, this is the one we don't like. And then we had our other friend who digitized all the artwork for our record. She was like, ask Joe what he thinks, because and then whatever he says we'll go with. And he immediately liked this one, so like, all right, that's it. And yeah, that's the logo.
Heck yeah.
Well, it turned out awesome. So every band has different personalities, different strengths, and different creative mindsets. What makes this lineup work well together?
I think we just mesh well really together. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's our overlap of similar influences and different influences. So we kind of have a common ground where we play, similar sounding riffs and stuff like that. But it's also like maybe Eric has an idea that I didn't think of, or vice versa, just because we have some, bands that we don't listen to in common. So it's good to have a lot of different influences coming to the table. But I definitely say we kind of meld it into our own sound together as well.
Yeah. Also, pretty much all our music comes from jamming. In fact, like even if like it's either someone brings a riff to the table and or I hum something, and we work through that, or sometimes we're just playing and jamming, and then we'll listen back and we'll be like, "This is really cool. I don't know what you were doing, Steve, but that was amazing." Or or Eric, like that bass line's crazy, and then we would like parse it out, be like, "All right, this could be a section, this could be another section." And then we're just like, there's too many songs here. We got to pick one.
Yeah. We definitely like to improv a lot. So like we'll record our jams and we'll listen to it later and we'll be like, oh, that riff was pretty good. Like let's use it for a song, or let's build something more around it, that kind of thing.
Thank God we record, because no shot we'd remember any of these things.
Yeah, we roll the tapes for our practices, and then we'll go back and listen and figure out what's good. So. Yeah, and then I think from my perspective, like I'm much more, my roots are much more like 60s and 70s garage rock. Not that they are not rooted in that as well, but that's like when I come to the table for any band situation, like I'm thinking The Who, I'm thinking Hendrix, Zeppelin, like that's the cornerstone for me, and then like whatever else comes on top of that will remain to be seen. And I know especially when we were recording our record. That's when we really had like more ideas come in, like more layers, because like the three of us, like we can only make so much sound in one session together. But then once we start layering other instruments, like I know Steve brought in like a lot of pop punk influence and emo influence, and some of the vocal overlays that he did and some of the guitar overlays that he did, to me are very reminiscent of some of that kind of riffage. That to me, like that's not really part of my mental Rolodex of what I'm going to think to write. So I think. Just to piggyback off of what Steve was saying earlier, like it's really cool to see how the three of us bring more stuff to the table and how that ends up becoming our own original sound.
And you guys kind of took it where we were headed next. Rob and I next, we're going to ask you about your musical influences, the bands, the artists that inspired you. And every band that we've ever interviewed, I think it's very unique and awesome how that you bring different musical influences to the table, but it all seems to work and come together when you're finally putting together songs and albums, because rock and roll in its purest form all came out of gospel and rockabilly and blues and country and western and formed this thing we love called rock and roll. And so we're very interested in hearing your musical influences. You named some of the bands, but elaborate a little further. And then as a piggyback on that question, what were some of your influences early on, like as far as not necessarily professional bands? Did anybody's parents or uncles or anybody kind of maybe your school program or whatever influence you at all musically?
Yeah, totally. I guess I'll start and maybe we could just go down the line.
Sure.
So for me, I'll say starting on from an early age, my dad, who's a fantastic musician, he always played in bands when he was young. So just from being a little kid, I was always in the house on big speakers. I heard bands like Yes, Genesis, Zeppelin,
Heck yeah.
Kansas, and they all stick with me. And he would always make it fun. Like he'd always joke around and like air guitar or something. And me being a little kid, I want to do that as well. And little did I realize, like seeds were being planted in my mind for later. And I know when my older brother started to play guitar, who's also a huge influence on me. he was getting really into Yes, and that's when my dad pulled a Rush CD off the shelf.
Heck yeah.
And seeing all these different bands, like all of a sudden I saw Geddy Lee from Rush. We pulled, this is a little bit before YouTube was a thing, so I think he pulled a video off of LimeWire, and I was, maybe a 9-year-old kid, and it's Rush, and they're playing a song Closer to the Heart live, and I have such a distinct memory of watching this and being like, Dad, I need to play bass and sing right now. This is no more sports. Like, this is what I need to be doing this. And then, so for me early on, and even still through today, like a lot of the 60s and 70s garage stuff, a lot of Who, Sabbath, Hendrix, Rush, Aerosmith, Zeppelin, Heart, and then going more. I see LimeWire's. Somebody just wrote in LimeWire. But and then it melded later. I got into a lot of like more like the mid to late 80s rock bands and even into the 90s. I'm not so much of a grunge guy as much, but
Okay.
the more like melodic rock from like 60s through 90s, and then even more modern influences as well. I think that's really what drives me musically, but always having that really heavy drum kit sound, so I
Heck
can
yeah.
I can play heavy dirty bass off of that, and then hear those blaring guitars.
So my dad's also a musician. Like he played a bunch of instruments. But
Nice.
and he played a lot of like Billy Joel, like
Oh, okay.
yeah, a lot of rock too.
Yeah.
But I like have distinct memories of like driving in his car. He had like a Saab something, and like the only CD I felt that was ever there was a Billy Joel CD.
Okay.
So
Which
a lot.
album? Which album was it?
I think it was Piano Man. I think it was. I think so.
Okay.
It's been a while. I can like visualize the cover, but like that's it. um, so a lot of growing up with that and like listening to like classic rock radio as driving around. And then I think when I was in like, I want to say I was like 11 or 12, I started to get really into AC/DC. I'm like, there's something about this band that's speaking to me. Like I
Yeah.
started really like, instead of like listening to music, being like, oh, this is music, I was like, oh, like I don't know why, but like it's making like these guitar solos are crazy. I tried to learn guitar, failed instantly. Never. Only drums for me. And then from there, I got really into the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think that
Oh,
was around 2008. Like Stadium Arcadium, I think had just come out. Uh,
nice.
yeah, so and then I was like, oh, Chad Smith's the greatest drummer of all time. That was my feeling. He's definitely one of the best. I always consider myself a worse Chad Smith. He's my favorite drummer. And then it went from like him to like the Foo Fighters, and then like over time it's just sort of I just become like, oh, whatever sounds good I listen to, and those influences bleed into whatever I'm doing. If I'm listening to say like soul pop, those like drum like the feeling I guess of the drum, not necessarily the beats, but those come into whatever I'm doing at that time. So I'm like constantly listening and like throwing whatever I'm doing into like the like whatever project I'm working on.
Heck yeah.
So, Touch
Yeah.
of Red has been steadily building a name through live shows and sharing stages with other bands, and to include Starkova, Adventure Lost, India Vid, Vibrotones, and others in the scene. How important has the live show side been in building the momentum behind Touch of Red?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, it's always good to meet other talented local bands and collab with them. We've definitely become friends with a lot of the bands we've played with, and in turn, they ask us to play shows, we ask them to play shows. So it's kind of like you feed off of each other, and you watch each other grow. So it feels really good to meet other bands, doing the same thing that we are, and to get closer with them and to get to know their music and that kind of stuff. So we become each other's fans and help each other out and that type of deal. So it always feels really good to meet other bands that we get along with.
I think I seen one of them in the chat.
Yeah, I see John Starkova. He's amazing.
He's
a-
fantastic,
He's
There-
extremely supportive.
he is.
to say the least. Yeah.
He's a mind-blowingly good guitar player. StarCo's LimeWire.
LimeWire.
That's from 4 minutes ago.
Shout out to LimeWire.
Yeah, shout out to Starakova as well. They are, if you have not heard Starakova, they are such a good band. Both their music sonically is incredible. The way they write, and their live performances are like perfect. They're so good, and yeah, we support them. They kind of take us under their wings sometimes. They'll put on shows, and we've played live with them. That's what it's all about. Is you got to support each other, especially in modern times. Like there's a lot less of an appetite from the general public to go out and see original music. Like, oh, what's going on tonight? Like, let's go out and see original bands. Like, at least here that's kind of non-existent. At least compared to what it was like 15, 20 years ago. So it really takes the support. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Eric, I love to hear that because I've said to some of the local acts where I'm at that sometimes you've got to look at the bigger picture of building community within the music community because, there was, like you said, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, there was this attitude that when you come to a gig, it's like, oh, well, screw those guys. I understand when you get on stage, you want to kick everybody's butt, but, off stage, you can't be upset that someone else is doing what you're doing. You're all trying to share with us an amazing experience through music. So I love hearing that about the support. So that's not necessarily a question. That's just me bragging on the fact you guys have that going on. But that leads into me asking, what's the music scene like in New Jersey? And then going back to our earlier question, Steve, I don't think you got to share your musical influences. I think we got two of the guys. So
He thought he was
so
free.
kind of a
I was almost
kind
off the
of a
hook.
kind of a double-sided question there. Share with us, and then talk about the music scene, the local music scene there in New
Sure.
Jersey, and the community within the bands.
Sure. Yeah. So for me, I've also come from a musical family. A lot of my family members on my father's side are musicians. I play in a band with my dad currently, and I also got these
awesome.
guys involved in it as well. So, but yeah, I play in a band with my dad currently. His brother, my uncle, is like a real musician. He's a touring concert pianist. So he
Nice.
actually, yeah, he's from Italy. He plays with like famous opera singers and that stuff. So he's the real deal. So I've always had, musicians in the family to look up to and learn from. So like I've always been interested in music, and definitely a wide range of influences band-wise. Like when I first started playing guitar, it was definitely the most fun to learn those kind of like classic rock songs, like Eric was saying, like the Zeppelin, the Cream, the AC/DC. Like those were
Absolutely.
always, felt really good to play, and it was challenging too to try to learn the leads and stuff. But as I got older, I played in more like emo style bands when that got big. Around that time, I guess like 2006, 2009 kind of thing when I was in high school. And my older brother was actually in like a big emo band. They got pretty big in New Jersey, so that was a huge influence as well. Yeah, so and then as I got older, I got more into stuff like Circa Survive, RX Bandits, that type of stuff. So definitely a lot
Okay.
of influences, depending what kind of mood I'm in. How's the riff going to sound today? So yeah, I like to try to bring that all to the band. And in terms of the scene, like I said before, it was different years ago. Like that time period I referenced, 2006, 2009, right around then. Like local shows were the thing. Like on a Friday night, you'd be at the mall selling tickets to your band show, selling your albums. Everyone would gather and just hang out. Whereas to now, it's like it's much harder to find places to play original music. Like there's
Right.
cover bars and that type of stuff, but we're lucky that we're from Rahway in New Jersey, and Rahway is actually pretty generous to the original music scene. So we get local Rahway gigs, and they're like, "Yeah, play your originals, like play your album, like maybe we'll be
Heck
mixing
yeah.
some covers depending how long the set is." But yeah, it's definitely harder in this day and age to find places to play original music.
Yeah, like people don't really seek out original music. It's not like I think it's also just because you can go on Spotify and go just listen to whatever you want. Like if you think
Right.
about it, 10 years ago or longer, it's like, oh, you had to pay for it, or you know, even further back, it's like, oh, I only have X amount of money for an album. Like I can only have so many albums. So I'm like, oh, there's a band that's hard rock. Let me go see that. But now it's like, oh, I can just do whatever I want. So people, I feel like it's just not a thing people really think about as much.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that kind of goes back to the other question is like, you know, when you're at a show, when you're at an original show, it's about the camaraderie. It's not a competition, at least on the level that we do.
Right.
It's not. It's very much the opposite of competition. Whereas I guess that kind of used to be the case. Like it's camaraderie. Like sometimes you're playing a show and the only other people there are the other bands. You know, so when you have you have a lineup of like 4 bands and there's 25 people in the room, and it's about hyping each other up, and especially like from the performing perspective, the energy that the crowd gives is a feedback loop for us, right? Like sometimes you're playing a place and like you're not allowed to turn up or you're not allowed to play louder, and then it's like, well, you might as well just have the radio on because like nobody knows what we're doing. You know, respect the rules, of course, like, but it's when you can play in some of those smaller places, and you bring some friends out and you're playing on the bill with other bands that you know and like, and you're feeding off of them. Like it's a feedback loop. It really is.
Right.
The more hyped the crowd can be, the more hyped we can be, and that builds together.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
So, has there been a live moment yet where you guys stopped and thought, this is exactly where we're supposed to be?
What do you think, Josh?
From the beginning, to be honest, like not even before the band, just sort of like, I mean, at that time, I don't necessarily think I was like, oh, I want to be in a band right now. It was just sort of like, I just want to play with really good musicians and just have a good time and just like literally love to improv. And so I met, you know, I was like, oh, these people, for me, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is what I want. And then it evolved from there.
Yeah, no, we definitely have a lot of fun playing the kind of music that we do. I mean, personally, I've played in a lot of different bands over the years with different styles, and like at the core, like I just want to jam, you know, and these guys like to jam too. So it's fun to just be able to let rip and like play however we feel, play what we feel, and write music that we like because of it.
I think it's also like we like hanging out with each other. So like that's
helps.
big too.
Yeah, I always like to say like we're friends first and band second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
those mix very well together. Yeah, sometimes we're playing. I feel similarly, like even to more directly answer your question, from early on, it was like you know, I've also played in a lot of other bands, been with a lot of other situations, but just like the way that, especially like just starting from the rhythm section, Josh and I really like to play with a drummer that is listening to what's going on around them and reacting musically to what's going on around them. And Josh and I, from day one, were always very much in sync with each other's idea for where to go with the jam, and dynamics as well. And then bringing in Steve on top of that, ripping a crazy solo and filling out the sound and fronting that sound as a guitar player. Like a lot of times it's those micro moments during a performance when the crowd's really engaged and when we're really doing our things, when we're in the middle of a song, we're like at the climax point of a song, it's just like, yeah, this feels right. This is supposed to be happening right now. Like this is meant to be happening.
Yes.
And there can be 5 people in that crowd or there can be 200 people in the crowd. It doesn't, that's almost not even a part of it. It's the energy. It's all about the energy.
Well, piggybacking off of what you just said, your Spotify profile opens up with the statement, rock is best played loud and live. And almost every social media post you guys have on any of the social platforms is a clip of you guys playing live somewhere. And I really like that, especially in this generation where now we're seeing the rise of this AI generated music. You guys are giving the people something authentic. And I think it's very important to have authenticity in music today and your live performances. So talk about that. kind of talking about, but talk about that. You guys have made it a point to display live music for your audience.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. At the crux of what I enjoy musically, it kind of took until the AI generation for me to really realize what it is that I love so much about music, and that's that it is an inherently human artistic creation. I like to be able to listen through the speakers, and I like to be able to hear that squeaky bass drum pedal, or that little click somewhere, like a guitar string that maybe wasn't supposed to be played. And I don't mind that. Like I enjoy I'm like, oh, now I can kind of hear what was happening in the studio when this was being recorded,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the human experience that music is. Um, I am not so concerned about AI music because, at least from the rock and roll perspective, kind of like you were saying, Ferg, is it's about the live performance. Like you're never gonna have a bot that's gonna get on stage and play live. Like we as humans, we want to watch other humans create something human. Um,
Yes.
that's from the rock scene. Like I don't want to take away from other forms of music either. You know, if you enjoy AI music, then awesome. Like who is anyone to say what one should or shouldn't like? But other genres, you know, we've been trying. I'm roughly stealing this quote from somebody. I think it's from Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. But if in certain genres, humans have been trying to sound like computers for 30 years. It's a lot easier for computers to sound like computers than it is for humans to sound like computers. Whereas
Right.
in rock, computers can't really sound like humans. Um, so again, I never want to yuck anyone's yum personally. Like if you like AI music, cool. But I know there's always going to be people out there who want to hear human created music and who want to go watch a human created performance.
Yes.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
it's definitely, it's like we
That's what I would
talked
say.
about backstage. As you listen to, say you guys, for instance, listen to you on Spotify or a station, and then the experience to meet you guys in person, that's a whole nother experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's for your audience, you can't get that with the AI. So and it's definitely a different experience from hearing the music on the radio or on whatever platform you listen to meeting you guys and listening to you live and interacting with your audience. It's just, in my opinion, that's the best experience someone can ever have. And I express to the audience, if Touch of Red is your favorite band, get out there and watch them. Go support them. Uh, and if you can't get out there and watch them, listen to them. You know. So
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
Speaking,
all about. Now go ahead.
no, no, pick up where he left off.
Yeah, I was just gonna talk more about the live experience, and like, I mean, personally, I love to see live music anywhere. Like, if I'm like out at a restaurant and there's a band, I'm like, oh, like this is awesome. You know what I mean? I think it just hits differently than listening to a recording. Even a recording, played by real people, it's still not even as exciting as live music. It's like there's the little happy accidents that happen, and it feels very real. And when you have a person performing that you can kind of look at it, it's like, there's several reasons why we might like an artist besides their music. It's like you
Hmm.
might just look at someone and you really like their energy, or they seem like they'd be fun to hang out with, that type of thing. Like if you take the human out of that, you miss all those connections.
Mhm.
absolutely.
Well, speaking to all that, you guys have several clips up on social media of this amazing performance you guys did at the Rock Shack.
Yes.
Man, you guys are ripping and rolling. Talk about that performance and talk about the fan interaction at that performance. I mean, I've seen the clips and man, you guys are getting down.
Thank you. Yeah, what's cool is the Rock Shack. Shout out to the Rock Shack. They exist to host original music, give people give bands a place to play their stuff on a full production stage. They're in Somerville, New Jersey, which is not far from us. And that was kind of like our album release show. That was the first time that we were able to play our album in full from start to finish, track 1 through track 10 in order, on a full production stage. And we met a few friends there. In my basement was a band that we shared that bill with. I believe they've played for some of your stuff as well. But that was such a cool time because it was the album that we had talked about releasing for, I don't know, 2 years. It was like, it's coming everybody, just gotta be patient, it's gonna get here. Finally we released it, and then a month or two later we were performing at the Rock Shack. And John at the Rock Shack he's an incredible musician. He runs a School of Rock as well. I don't know if you have, I don't know how national that is, but School of Rock is quite like the movie, a place where young fledgling musicians can go and get lessons and practice for the stage. I don't know what existed first, that School of Rock or the movie. That has to be Googled, but there's certainly some cross influence there. But that's from my perspective, like that was the first time that we were able to play on a full production stage and play really loud for a room. And kind of like we were saying earlier, you're asking about, like, is there a moment where you're like, this just works? And I think you could see that, like, especially during Fever Dream, when it's getting toward the end of that song, and that's the second to last song on the record and the second to last song that we played that night. Steve is just going nuts, and Josh and I are in the back just absolutely locking in, or that's how it feels from my perspective. And everything just clicked so well, and it was, the audience was electric during that moment, and really the whole performance, the audience was electric. But there was something about that performance that I will never forget as long as I live.
Heck yeah.
There's something special about playing on a stage, not just live. Like a lot of times it's just like, you're here, you're going to play right in front of whatever, but like a full production stage, that was like, it was very, very cool. It was like one of those, like, kind of like, oh my God, something's happening moment.
Hell yeah.
Definitely one of our favorite gigs. Super fun to play on that nice stage with a nice setup. And like Eric said, it's a great venue. Like, we love the ideology behind it. We love what they're doing. They're giving a lot of bands the opportunity to really showcase their stuff. So we were more than happy to oblige. And it was a really good one. And we got a lot of good crowd response too. You can tell when someone is genuinely listening and enjoying the set and interested in your original music afterwards. It always feels really good. So. So we came off of that one very happy.
Heck yeah.
So at this time, if you're rocking with us now, jump in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. So as you listen through Touch of Red's music, there's a lot happening beneath the surface. Powerful vocals, driving guitars, emotion, tension, melody, and moments that just explode with energy. It doesn't feel boxed into one lane, and that's what makes the sound stand out. When you guys started writing together, how did the overall sound of Touch of Red naturally evolve into what fans hear now?
Well, I mean, the songs that you hear on the record definitely didn't start out as complete, and the full vision wasn't there yet. So even when we started recording, we did a lot of writing while we were recording the record. We'd record version 1 and listen back and like, okay, this is cool, but we can definitely change this or expand on this. So the songs definitely evolved over time as we became better playing with each other and more familiar with our own material. We were definitely able to, take it to the next level, elevate it as we went along.
It did also like evolve like in the studio of the way we kind of recorded everything.
Yeah.
Like we had an idea of what the songs were when we were playing them because we did scratch tracks and everything. But once we kind of gave it off to Steve to add the guitar, like things just went from like 10 to 11. Like he really, like a lot of or my favorite parts of the record are really a lot of what Steve did. Just like, oh, this would sound cool.
Yeah, I'd like to experiment in the studio.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, what's nice
That's
is
awesome.
we self-produced, so we had all the time in the world. The time was up to us to do what we wanted. Um, so we did the rhythm section here in this very room that we're interviewing from.
Okay, wow.
And after the rhythm section was complete, then I gave it to Steve on an external hard drive, and then he spent not
Way too long.
not all together, but over the course of many months, Steve was really able to expand on the guitars and the chord structures for the songs. And after again, being a trio, the lead guitar is a rhythm guitar, and the solos that's all coming from the same guitar. Whereas once you're in the studio, you can really creatively add to that. So it was, I remember when Steve said, "Hey, I think I'm done. Like, come over and take a listen." And I remember sitting in the room, and I'm like, Steve can remember too. I'm like mind blown. This unmixed, this rough record that needed mixing and needed a lot of editing, but like just hearing the guitars and hearing these songs that we knew so well, written and played live for so long, in a way that was only live format, and then suddenly hearing it with all these other guitars on it, it was just like, oh wow, this is something else. And then after Steve was done with it, then we were able to do the same thing. Then it came back in-house here, and we did the vocals. And then that was a similar situation where I did the lead. I did mostly all of the leads, but I had all the time in the world to essentially work through some of the vocals and really listen back and hear back, like, oh, you know what, here's another idea. And then Steve did the same thing with backing vocals. He came over and some leads as well. Like, oh, here's some ideas, and then that's how the record came to be. And I would imagine if you asked a lot of power trios, they would have a similar story.
Heck yeah. Well, speaking about the album and the songs, I want to jump in and talk about your babies for a minute. Your babies are the songs and the album, and I'm going to read off some of the notes that I took down when I was doing a review for your band early on. The song "The Road Ahead," that one starts the album great. It reminded me of one of those great cruising down the road driving anthems. I'm reminded a little bit of Thin Lizzy in the vocal style. There's some crushing drums, a face-melting guitar solo, by the way, Steve. Good steady rhythm. You can just pop this one in and drive. And then as we're on our way out, there's this bass outro that's just so Hendrix-like. And man, that song's a solid rocker from start to finish. Let's talk about The Road Ahead. Talk about that one.
You want to start?
Didn't I like?
You started the song.
Yeah, I for a long time I used to like go on GarageBand on my phone and just like come up with random things, like guitar riffs or whatever. And I kind of brought something, and I was like, guys, I like whatever I wrote here, and they were like, we'll do something with that. And they made whatever I did. I think was as Steve made it better, and was the intro. And then I think it was a lot of jamming on all of that, right? Like I don't remember if that was.
I think that was the first song we ever finished. Like that was our
Yes.
first song.
Yeah, there's a lot of jamming on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a testament to kind of like our jam sessions as well, is like that's a part of it. But yeah, I remember Josh remember that in, and the intro melody actually was minor originally. It was I remember being like it was like a keyboard sample, and it was actually a minor a minor using a minor scale. And then I was listening to it, I was like, oh, but what if we did it, what if we made it brighter? What if we did it like, what if we made it more major? And then that's when it kind of became, I think from my perspective, when I heard that, I was thinking like, oh, what about like Spirit Radio from Rush? Or like There Goes My Hero from Foo Fighters. I was starting to think like that lane. And that's when you get to the bridge, like, I want to wake up next to you. That was when that whole portion, it's just two chords, but I thought it fit really well with the rest of it.
Is that the song where you were like, I don't know about something lyrics. You were like, I don't know if I'll think about it. Like we were jamming on it, and then I think he came in to work, And he was like, I came up with lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. I just
finished the song.
I didn't know what I was writing about lyrically with that one. I just started writing stuff down.
We got to leave work now.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss. We're out. Music's calling.
Yeah. I came up with lyrics, and then I eventually kind of like worked backward and realized what I guess my more like subconscious was trying to say lyrically. And then that's when everything clicked. And then I think the rest of the song kind of spoke for itself. Once Steve came in and did that solo, and we realized that's how long the solo was going to be.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's. I say this about every single one of our songs. It's one of my favorites to play live.
Heck yeah.
Right. So shout out to Mario, Take It or Leave It band. He says, "These guys are the bomb. Love my homies and touch of red."
And that means so much coming from Mario. His band Take It or Leave It, absolutely
Yeah,
insane.
Thanks for the shout out.
Getting to
They're great.
see,
Thanks, man.
yeah, getting to see Take It or Leave It live is insane.
It's a religious experience.
It is. I'm not much of an alternative punk listener, but I really, really appreciate the performances that those bands do. And Take It or Leave It, I was entranced when I was watching them play. I think Josh and I were watching them together play, and I was watching this band. I was like, oh my god, they are so good. This is just like, this is such a good band. Yeah, that Take It or Leave It. Check them out. They're amazing. That's all I can say. Let the music speak for itself. They are incredible.
Hell yeah.
Heck
So-
yeah.
Let's move into Tear Down the Sky. The title alone, it's massive, intense. Song carries that same energy from start to finish. Sorry. What's the story behind Tear Down the Sky, and where did the inspiration for this track come from?
If you're okay, I'll start with this one.
Sure.
So Tear Down the Sky was actually the first song that we wrote when we decided that this was a band. Like, this was no longer just a jam situation. This was no longer a side project. Like, this was a band. And that's how we were going to treat it going forward. And I think it started out with just Josh and I. Actually, the heavy irony, if like Steve wasn't there and we had decided we were a band. I think it
Why wasn't I told?
I think like it was one of the nights that like Steve couldn't make it.
No,
No?
that song.
I was probably just late.
There are like two songs or maybe three that like, as we were like, the jam is really pretty much the entire structure. Like, we didn't do much changing. That's one of them. You can hear me kind of start out with something. I must have heard like a Nirvana song. 'Cause there's a Nirvana song where a drum beat's kind of similar, and I was trying to come up with something, and I come up with like the drum beat, and then the bass locks in, and then the guitar locks in, and then we progress to I think what became the bridge, and then like the jam is pretty much almost exactly like the real song.
Yes.
The pieces.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of order, I
chorus,
think.
the chorus is what I'm talking about. Was what I think Josh and I had done together. I was actually
That's
jamming
correct.
on guitar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Steve isn't here. Like, let me just play some guitar along with the drums. So the chorus is what you hear. And then I think in that session itself, before Steve came in the next week, and we then laid out the structure and all that, I just remember playing that, and then I thought like, oh, how cool would it be if like we had and then like in that process as we were playing, I was like, Josh, Tear Down the Sky is the working title for this. Whatever this ends up being is the working title.
Heck yeah. Well, your song Fire Away, the second track on your album, you guys do something unique. You've heard a lot of rock and roll songs with hand clapping. You guys brought in some finger snapping at around the 344, 345 mark, and it just works with the song. I mean, the song already is fast, great vocals, some great drums, and then you brought that in. I love when bands bring in an extra element that shows the creativity. Talk about that, and whose idea was that?
Oh man, yeah, I guess it was.
I think that's
yeah, no, I think so
yeah.
because so the inspiration actually comes from the band Extreme. This is the second time they're coming up with this interview,
Okay.
actually. The song
I
More
love
Than Words,
Extreme.
amazing band. The song More Than Words, which for anybody listening who may not know it, if you go and listen to it, you'll be like, oh, I know this song. It was a huge hit acoustic duo from the 90s, where you hear that it wasn't a snap, but it was guitar strings creating that percussion, and then there's another Extreme record where they kind of bring back that same kind of idea, with I think it's a song called it's like Give Peace a Chance, something like that. The title come to me later. But they brought that kind of back in at the end, like it's this really heavy, like Hendrixy track, and at the end you hear it come back in. And I think they still use acoustic guitar for that. But I was thinking, like, how cool would it be if we just had, like, we just stopped the song suddenly and we just hear, Steve and I doing those all those vocal overlays and like with snapping in there, just like a different way to end a song. Like I think we always tried to avoid doing fade outs because then, like, what do you do live? And none of our songs have like actual fade outs, like where a chorus just fades to nothing. So I think we always wanted to try to like end a song in a particular way. And
Yeah, we were like, let's just do an a cappella ending. But of course, you needed to keep time.
Yeah.
So the snapping really came into play there. And yeah, we liked the way it came out. It didn't always have the a cappella outro, but it was a
great
step
addition.
in the right direction.
Well, it really works, and so if anybody's listening to the interview, you guys definitely got to check that one out, as well as the whole album.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Fever Dream, it has the intense emotional atmosphere, and when you're listening to it, it immediately pulls, people into the song. Tell us a little about the creation of this track, and, was there a particular emotion or experience behind the track?
yeah, so I want to start off. I'm going to pass it off to you guys because this song is such a jam, and we wanted to keep it that way. But I'm gonna start off and then push it to them. So how this originally started was Steve has like 1,000 guitars, and especially during that time, like he was always bringing like a different one to practice every week. And I think this one, it was an SG he brought, and it was maybe the strings were old or something, but it was not holding its tuning. So we started to jam. I hit that note that you hear start out. It's a low E, just open string, and then Josh started doing his thing. And then we looked at Steve to be like, all right, what do you got? And he was like, no, I'm tuning. And like, his amp is off. And like, all right, I guess. And that's when on bass I went, and so Josh and I did that. And then Steve joined in, and then really chaos ensued. This is really the long and short of it. Yeah.
Somewhere in the Touch of Red records, there is the actual recording of that jam, and it is again one of those songs that we did where it's pretty much like the album, like the song actually came out. I don't think we changed anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that might have been our jammiest song, honestly. We
Okay.
it's really fun to play that one live because we kind of get carried away and we really just let it rip. Like especially on guitar, like I can, crank the volume, crank the effects, and just go crazy a little bit. So that's one of our favorites to play, and I feel like it comes out a little bit different every time when we play it live too, which is part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Never the same performance twice.
It's
But,
definitely my favorite.
Yeah, and it came out really good on the record. Like we were really pleased with the way the mix came together and everything. So it's we're getting
John
we're getting some feedback on the
John
chat
realized that you
here.
have more guitars than me. He's upset about
We'll
it.
have to do a count off, a tally after the show.
I try to think what else.
Yeah,
I know
the
clock sound. Remember, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I thought we should do like a clock ticking. I was like, can you find a sample or something for that? And he's like, we don't do samples in this house. And he's like, you got to figure this out. And I was like, let me think of something. And then I was like, all right, let's record me going from like the bell of the hi-hat, coming back down. And Eric I'm like, yeah, let's just do a couple of takes and just overlay it. And he's like, nah, it's going to sound better if you just do it the whole time. I'm like, my brain had to calculate. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
I think we actually even let Josh sing on this one too. There's a vocal line.
Maybe.
He's got
Oh,
some,
yeah.
we got some gang vocals.
Oh, yeah,
at
for
the
sure,
end,
the
my
Run the
2
Clock.
vocal credits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh is featured on vocals.
I fought hard for that. I was like, there needs to be gang vocals
Yeah,
at
he
this
did.
one
I
moment.
was anti-gang vocal for this record, and Josh pushed, and now I realized
I fought.
that.
It came to fisticuffs. Somehow I won.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it worked out. It was I had always kind of associated gang vocals with like 80s hair and stuff like and like AC/DC, and like those are amazing. That's all amazing and incredible. It didn't feel quite like what we were doing.
Right.
But then once we started, it was like, all right, like let me look into how to record them and stuff like that. And then once I realized, like I was like, okay, Josh was totally right. Like this is the way to go. So yeah, there's a couple of gang vocals. I think just on Fever Dream. Oh, and No Dice I think has some.
I'm not on
gang
that.
vocals. Yeah, oh, maybe not. Fever Dream, Touch of Red. Those tracks both have gang vocals. But what's cool about the lyrics for Fever Dream, the night after we jammed on that song, we played in this basement, the one that we're interviewing from, and it was so stuck in my head. Everything we did, it was probably a Thursday night, and we played, and then we finished at 10 p.m. and I was in bed by like 12 or whatever, and it was just in my head, and I could not sleep. And suddenly, there's 3 or 4 verses in that song. Those all came to me within about 5 to 10 minutes. I had all the lyrics for the song. Well, not all the lyrics for the song.
Yeah.
Because then Josh had come up with the intro that Steve sings.
I said that I feel like there should be some vocals here, and like, oh, what should we do? And I was like, and I literally came up with those like on the spot. It's like, these are temporary. Do something like that, and they just stuck.
There you go. It's on the record.
It worked out.
Yeah, now it's a piece of the song. Yeah.
Definitely a favorite. Yeah, it's hard to play a show and not play Fever Dream. It really is. It's just so it's like, to me it's the prototypical Touch of Red song. It maybe that and Touch of Red, like they very much embody what we do and how we create.
Yeah, I also want to say that was one of the songs where I thought I knew how the song was ending, and then I came to see what Steve did, and you played for me the ending, and I was like, I don't know whatever the heck I was thinking, but this is so much better than what was in my head.
Yeah. Quickly, talk about the drum work on the Iceberg. Man, you are going off like a machine gun on that song. Talk about it.
I blacked out, no idea. I can't remember what I was thinking at the time, but I was just like, I think the riff was heavy, and I was like, I don't do a lot of like that heavy stuff all the time. So I was like, all right, like let's just start out at like a 10. So I just was like, all right, this sounds like a really cool beat. Let's go for it. Did I come up with the riff for that one?
You did.
Okay.
I think you did come up with that riff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was Steve wasn't there for that. I think
Steve, you're missing from a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know. They just write these bangers.
We're gonna have to
Hey,
get
you
I have to get like a time clock or something.
To be fair, I don't think I was anywhere close to anything with Fire Away, except I think I hummed the bass line and then was late to practice, and I came back and they're like, the song is done, and I was like, cool.
That's just how it worked out.
I don't know where he was.
I couldn't make
really quick go back to Fire Away. So Fire Away was another one where Josh had he did in GarageBand, and then I was like, what the heck are we supposed to do with this? And then it came. I think like Ferg very astutely pointed out, Hendrix. Like it has like, to me that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, this is a Hendrix thing. And then I think it was a writing session between me and Steve where we realized that it was the play was going to be to have it be like a call and response vocal, like, yeah, it's burning up, come on, can you see it? Yeah, it's burning. And go back and forth. That then seemed to be like the kind of thing that we were supposed to do with that.
I was 45 minutes late, and I came back to like a song that I wrote that I had nothing to do with. Yeah. And they're like, guys, we're all done. Or Josh, it's all done here. And I was like, okay, cool.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I guess if you guys do it. But back to the Iceberg, like, I don't know, that just drum beat just came to me. I think we jammed on it a little bit. It definitely was on bass. I think you went on guitar because you had an idea of what to do.
Okay.
And then we just like went from there. And then I think, Eric, also, you're the one that came up with switching at the end, instead of going to the chorus for the solo, to switch back to the verse, like.
Oh yeah, the maybe not the verse, but the bridge.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na-na. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
to switch it around.
Totally.
Which I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I think I screwed it up every time for like a year. I would always start on the wrong one and like rapidly have to change. But like that was I'm trying to remember, but like that I think also maybe a little Fall Out Boy. It's a little familiar. It's a little similar some of their beats, but I must have doing something pop punk at the time.
Down, down. Yeah, I totally hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell them; they'll probably.
Yeah. It was probably something like
I'm
that.
gonna get a cease and desist.
Yeah,
I just realized that now. That's so cool.
Don't sue me.
Yeah.
So, and then I think Eric too, like the bass line in the verse is like, no, sorry, yeah, the bass line in the verse was super sick, and then Steve, I love what you do in the verse. Yeah, it's like just like a little funky, like hard rock. It was great.
Yeah, it was really supposed to bring in like some Rage Against the Machine style influence, especially like hearing that. And I remember being in the studio when we were doing, I was kind of like producing while Josh was recording the drums. I was like, Josh, this song is about being angry. Like play like you're angry, and then all of a sudden everything clicked with that really heavy hitting.
Yeah, it was one of our heavier songs on the album, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking back and currently, what accomplishment means the most to the band right now?
To me, I always wanted to make a full-length rock record my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but since about being 17, 18 years old, I really, that to me is what I love. It's like when I can put a CD in from start to finish and enjoy every single second of it. Or even not, like just to hear a CD and from top to bottom. And I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to create a record that I believed in every second of from start to finish. So for me, the biggest accomplishment is far and away just the writing and releasing In Our Nature.
Same thing, like the album, like just to be able to have like a piece of something that you were a part of was like crazy. Like especially going through the whole process, and then you get to the end, and it's like, here, you can listen to this. Like before, people were like, I like that song. Can I listen to it? I'm like, no, sorry, doesn't exist. It's in our heads. So again, like being able to like physically like show it to people, and like also just the response people give like makes me like, oh, I'm just so proud of what I was a part of and what I did. I also thought that I'd never write lyrics except for my one line.
And I recorded
Yeah,
I wrote it all, man.
Yeah, I got the credits.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. We're really proud of the way the album came out, and of course, like we mentioned before, it was a long time coming, and it was totally self-produced, so that feels good too. We were able to learn a lot about producing as well as songwriting throughout the process. It was a learning experience, and we're really pleased with the way everything came out, and we're proud of it.
Shout out to Eric, who did pretty much just mixing, mastering, and basically learned an entirely new trade to do the album. We're like, oh, should we do I think we were almost immediately we're talking about like an album. First of all, Eric was like, no EPs. We're doing
I really pushed, even though it's not the smart business move necessarily to release an album in its entirety. Especially nowadays with streaming, the algorithms do favor singles. Actually, John, who might still be in the chat, he taught me that that is formally the case. But that said, like to me, I came in as like I don't care. Like obviously, we'll put out a single or two before the record, but I want to, we'll put out a single or two in anticipation leading up to the record. But I want to do a full length record. Like that's and I think I did push the guys a little bit for that.
There wasn't pushing. That was what you said. It
okay.
was guys were not. I believe your exact words were, I think EPs are a tease, and you should just do a whole album.
I was like, just tell me where to solo. Man.
You guys
with rock EPs, I love music in all its creations, all of its forms. There's certain I think Skid Row is a good example. They put out they put out some EPs, and so like within the last 15 years they put out some EPs, and like gets to track 5, and I'm like all hyped up. I'm like, all right, where's track 6? Oh, it's over. And like, all right, I'll start it over from the beginning. But I think there's something to be said that the sum is greater than its parts when you have an album and it's aptly lengthed for the story you're telling or the musical story you're telling. And like for me, I'll always put on an album, unless I'm in the gym or something and I just need like, heaviness all the way through. I'll always put on an album like that. That's how I listen to music whenever I can. I always prefer that medium, at least in the rock realm. So I think going forward, we'll definitely do plenty of singles and stuff like that. But it was about having an album. Like, hey, Touch of Red, In Our Nature. Like this is something you can listen to for 45 minutes straight. You can buy this. You can, whatever. I don't know how we got. What was the original question? I don't even remember.
What are you proud of?
Yeah, what are you proud of?
Yeah.
So are you proud of?
Yeah, and then I'm really proud that we released the full length record. And at least for me, I believe in every single second from start to finish. Everything has its purpose. Everything has its place on there.
Well, I've listened to the full album, and from my perspective, it's got everything you would want in a rock and roll album. I mean, from start to finish, and that's not me blowing smoke because you guys are on the show. You've seen my review that I posted, and honest to God, that's how I feel about it. I know the album is on streaming platforms. Are there physical copies available for fans?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. There's
Absolutely.
physical copies. Yeah, and like any and all streaming only sounds so good. Physical media still sounds the best. Or
Yes.
if you're to put in a CD, that is still technically digital. But what comes through on data waves is not as good as what comes through on CD. Yeah, we have plenty of
Totally
CDs. We're happy to send them out. Whoever wants them. I think if you come to a show, we charge like $10 for a CD. $1 for every track, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
$1 track.
we don't have like an online storefront for it, but if you just message us at any from anywhere, request a CD, we're happy to ship you one. Absolutely, just pay us a small fee, and it's yours. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, I'll be messaging you guys. I love
yeah.
physical media. As you can see behind me in the studio here, I collect physical media, and my CD collection continues to grow. I like to buy vinyl as well. I just like to know that you physically have something in your hands that's going to last. Music lasts a lifetime. And as I've told people, they're collector's items, but you never know when you're going to go to a show. You can't stream or download an autograph, man. What if I was to show up and get an autograph from you guys? I can't get that autograph off of Spotify.
Right.
Got to get the CD signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta come to New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah, and it goes without saying, both Rob and Ferg, you're both getting courtesy copies of the CD.
Signed.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
signed as well. Yeah,
Hell
don't
yeah.
worry, it's coming your way. It's coming
Hell
your way. Rob, I got to connect with you after and get your mailing address for the
Not
show.
a problem.
I already have Ferg's, but yeah, no, you're totally right. It's and that's the thing too is like it's about having that CD out and available for a physical connection, and then after that we can do like strictly digital singles and doubles after that. I think that's probably softly the plan going forward is to do
Absolutely.
more singles
And I
doubles.
totally understand the business side of it for you guys and for artists and bands in this day and age, but kudos to you guys for sticking it out and still putting out a full length. I think your fans are going to really enjoy that. And so anybody watching, Rob and I will testify today, go listen to this album, In Our Nature. If you are a fan of rock and roll music in any form or genre, this is an album to listen to.
So, guys, I have to ask, what's been the toughest part of building an independent rock band today? And, what keeps y'all pushing through like difficult parts of the industry?
I mean, what keeps us like going through it is just like we're having a good time. We're having fun. We don't, we're friends first, like Eric said. And if we weren't having a good time, we wouldn't be doing this. It's how do I put this? It's like we're trying to make it as a band. We're trying to do that, but again, like it's not the end all be all for us. We have to understand where we are, and for us, it's like if we're not having a good time, we're not going to put in all this effort.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of good opportunities. We've had a lot of fun shows, a lot of time to make our music together, and some of the struggles in this day and age, rock and roll is not exactly the forefront on up and coming generations' minds. It's not the biggest genre anymore, but we still enjoy to play it, and there's plenty of people out there who still enjoy to listen to it. So it's the recognition is not as widespread in 2026, and also like we were talking before about finding a place to play your original music is sometimes a struggle too. So sometimes we'll go longer than we would like between opportunities to play our stuff out. But when we do, we have a lot of fun, and we definitely jam on our own time in between then. So we get to scratch the itch in that way.
Are y'all currently working on some new material?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been jamming. We've been
writing.
Yeah,
Yeah, we I think we have we have a lot of stuff to pull from, but I think like over the last few weeks, I think there's like 3 distinct works that we have that we're really, really excited about. That need more time to be fleshed out and all that. But yeah, it's cool too because now with Inner Nature in the rear view, we get to really understand. We get to listen back and hear that identity that we have, and then build off of that. Like what's next? Like what can we do that's even better? How can we continue to push those creative boundaries of ours? And so far, things are sounding pretty cool. So it'd be fun to share that with you all when it's finally ready.
Well, now that you're done, now that you have
Yeah, now I'm not in business school anymore.
Yeah.
More time to do that.
Oh yeah, we look forward to it. And
Absolutely.
we're getting to an hour and 11 minutes. So I have a closing question for you guys. At the end of the day, when people hear the name Touch of Red, years from now, what do you hope the band is remembered for?
guitar solos, just all the guitar solos, just Steve. I don't.
That's not my answer.
I don't know.
I think actually Ferg did it, and a few other people wrote in to us. For me, there's so many bands that have put out albums that have touched me so deeply that I just need to rant about how great I think they are, and when I see other people talk about music that they love in the same way, it's really inspiring to hear. And I think when Ferg first reviewed us, he wrote like a really nice stream of conscience to us just about how much he liked what he heard, and to me that's the legacy. Like that stays with him forever. We also had quite a few people write in, listen to us on Spotify and write us like, hey, when are you going to be in Pittsburgh? Hey, when are you performing in LA next? I love your record. I just heard it. Like I really, really, really want to see this live, like locally. And I mean, maybe someday we'll see. But yeah, I think it's. To me, I want to be remembered. I want Touch of Red to be remembered for that band that wrote stuff that really kicks tail in the studio, and is even better live. Is even better for the live experience. And when we are able to capture those sounds live, and when we really click with fans, I think we want to be remembered. I want to be us. I want us to be remembered for that.
That's my answer too.
Good answer.
Yeah, I think you had a really good.
See, we're all in sync.
Yeah.
That's it.
I could tell you definitely word of mouth because, Ferg reached out to me and was like, dude, you got to listen to this band. He's like, pull them up, listen to them, check them out, let's get them on the show.
Mhm.
I was like, all right.
Yes.
So
Yeah, thank you both so
I was
much.
like, hell yeah. So props to Ferg. And definitely thank you guys for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It's
Absolutely
our
great
pleasure.
conversation. So
No, we appreciate you guys having us here. This has been a cool experience.
Mhm.
And once again, Ferg, thank you for your glowing review. That was that made me really happy to watch your feedback on our album.
Well, it was a pleasure of mine, and You know, that's what I told you guys before we came on the show. It's been my mission to try to be the voice that drives people to the music that inspires me in the hopes that they find the music that inspires them. Because every album you've ever listened to, you guys mentioned AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, whatever, somebody along the way told you, hey, you got to listen to these guys, you got to check them out. And so when I discovered your music, it was totally a pleasure of mine to do the review because that's my mission is to tell other people, hey, you gotta listen to these guys. And it's as simple as that because there's so many bands that unless somebody taps you on the shoulder, pulls you aside, calls you, emails you, whatever form of communication, if someone doesn't say to somebody, hey, check this band, hey, listen to this song, chances are it's going to slip right by them. And so I just want to be that voice.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You are the goat. Thank you. Both of you are the goats. Thank you so much for doing what you do and giving bands like us a chance to talk and share our message for the world.
Absolutely. And for those of you that are tuning in, especially any bands, you know, I currently am working on putting more dates out, you know, so if you pull up the form and you're filling out the registration or trying to, you know, it's currently closed at the minute or at the moment, but I'll soon have some more dates because I could tell you in the last week, every date was taken for the next 2 months. So um, I'm going to have some new dates coming out. So y'all look forward. And same for you guys. If you have some friends that just want to get their exposure, you know, I'll be putting some new dates out. They can fill it out and we'll get them scheduled in.
Totally.
So, Touch of Red, thank y'all for hanging with us today. We appreciate the stories, the energy, and real conversation. Everybody watching, make sure you go stream the music. Support
Yes.
the band. Stay locked in because these guys are continuing to push hard in the rock scene. This has been another episode of BSing with Y Eagle Y podcast. This is Rob. We'll catch you on the next one.